你好，我是国梅，看世界听故事，让我们共同成长。我现在呢是在迈阿密的 Books and Books。Coral Gables 图书馆啊，今天我们将会迎来一位畅销书的作家，叫做 James Zimmerman。他写了一本书叫 Peking Express， 也就是1923年呢发生在中国的一件非常重大的事件，就是一个火车的劫持案，牵涉到美国和英国被劫持的人质呢，引起了整个世界的轰动。同时，这一事件呢后来继续的发酵呢，也导致了整个国家的分裂，产生了深远的影响啊。那么这个事件可能说很多人已经淡忘了啊，但是在 James Zimmerman 花了8年的时间，做了很多的研究，甚至一直采访和追踪当事人的后代呢，他写下了这本非常有趣的著作，而且它不是 fiction 啊，这是一个根据事实写出来的一本书呢。今天呢，他来进行一个作者的签名售书以及读者见面会。我们非常有幸呢，在这里和他碰面，一起来了解一下 James Zimmerman 和他的书 Peking Express。Hello
from Books and Books at Coral Gables, Miami, Florida. I'm James Zimmerman. I'm the author of the book, The Peking Express, which is a true story of China's Great Train Robbery of 1923. I've lived and worked in Beijing for almost 30 years. And this is a book that captures my interest in historical events that have taken place in the early 20th century. It is a book that has actually been reviewed, in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, and a variety of other publications. And it's considered to be a New York Times editor's choice. And Fortune magazine's, one of the Fortune magazine's best books for nonfiction in 2023. So it's a great story. It's a great story for China. It's a great story for all of the foreigners that lived and thrived in China in early 20th century. And it's going to be made into a movie. And that movie is in the works now and should be out in the next year or two. And so we've completed the script, and now we're in the process of bringing it into production. But I'm very, very happy to be here in beautiful Miami and to support the Chinese community and all of you here. And if any of you out there have any questions on the story, you can go to the website for the book, which is thepekingexpress.com. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you're in Beijing, be sure to look me up, because I'd love to hear from all of you here in the Miami Chinese community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Very well said. Just have a question. It's been almost like a century. The story has happened. I mean, the fact has happened. And many people probably never heard of that, the young generations, or some people already forgot. What has triggered you to start to write about the story? And what's the impact now to Chinese people, the government, and to the world?
Well, there's a lot of stories about people that have lived and worked in China that have been buried into history. And this is one of them. It was something that was captured in the media for the whole 6-week period of the hostage crisis. And it not only captured the attention of the world, but it really impacted China significantly. And it was something that was a major turning event. And even in the subtitle of the book, I say that it broke the Republic of China, which is partially true. It had such a big impact on China that it did change some history. And so it's a story that not a lot of people, either foreigners or Chinese, remember. And part of that may be because after 1923, so you had a lot of historical events that had an impact on what people were going to remember. So I felt that it was important to bring this story into a book form. Plus, the Chinese version will be up, I'm hoping, by the end of the year. And then all those that are a member of the Miami, Chinese community will have an opportunity to see the Chinese version as well as the English version.
Is it a fiction or nonfiction?
It's 100% nonfiction, which is a true story.
Okay.
It's not a novel. It's not fiction. It's 100% true story. And it's actually based upon a lot of the diaries from those that were held hostage as well as locating sources like the bandits themselves, the families, and everyone that was involved in the story. I tried to trace their families to get their family records. So it is a true story.
How long did it take for you to do all those research and interview the families to finish all the basic work for this book?
About 8 years worth of work of researching, but I also spent a lot of time on the ground in Zhaozhuang, Shandong province, where the events took place. So I spent many times, over a dozen times, going to the mountain, which is important, where the hostages were held for 37 days in what is called Pazuku Mountain, and today it's a national park. Visiting all the architecture, the environments, in the temples. There's a number of temples that are in the same condition today as they were in 1923. In fact, there's a tree that is 1,200-year-old tree where the hostages in this story sat around this tree 102 years ago, and that tree is still thriving today in the courtyard of one of the temples. So it's a fascinating area, and a lot of the architecture and the landscape will be featured in the upcoming movie.
What do you think the book is the meaning to today's China, today's world? Why do we need to read this?
I think that today's Chinese need to understand their history, because this is, it's a time. 1923 was a very difficult time for the people of China. It is what we in the West would call the warlord era. And it was a very, very difficult time, a lot of chaos. And this took place for, 10, 15 years after the Qing government fell, and it was a difficult time because it was warlords were battling one another, and the country was very fragmented, and the lessons today are two things. One, that, the unity of the country is very, very important. And back then, the chaos just divided, people from north to south to west. But also, an important lesson is that the train system, back in 1923, was viewed as a way to unify the country. It was not just, the train system was not just to drive commerce and trade, but it was also to unify the country. And today, you see the high-speed rail system is doing the same. It's unifying the country in ways that they tried to do in 1923.